Okay, so I want to talk to you a minute about flow, but before we get into flow, I want to talk to you a little bit about how to actually take advantage of the information that I share with you, or when I say go listen to a podcast or read something or learn from this webinar or seminar or whatever it is that you're learning from. Learn from another athlete and from some technique that they have or another coach. And then one of the things that I do that I think is useful for at least me and for other people that I see that are really successful is, like Russell Brunson talks about, he always talks about funnel hacking. And what he's talking about is really looking at something else that somebody else that does that is successful. He's talking about sales, but you could be talking about anything. So it could be somebody's practice, or it could be some technique that they have. And then you take that and then you personalize it and you make it, you translate it into your words, into your, into who you are, into what you represent, into your strengths and your system, so to speak. So, and what we're going to be talking about in flow and how it relates to that is, so a couple of the gurus in flow are Stephen Kotler's, the kind of the current one, but the one that kind of wasn't the original one, but one of the original ones was Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. And he studied in Chicago, and it was at a university, and so it was a while ago, and it was difficult to learn and to read from. But he talked about kind of the 8 qualities of flow, whereas Stephen Kotler started doing research with like Red Bull athletes and stuff like that, extreme athletes that were making like exponential, massive progress on things, and he was seeing these advancements, and they were like just as proliferating human performance. It was just unbelievable. But anyways, and it still continues today. And so that information's out there, and Stephen communicates it. And one of the things that he broke it down into is with the 17 triggers of flow. And those triggers, they're all massively helpful, and so are the 8 qualities that Mihai came up with, that he discovered. But again, like, you take what you learn from these great masters, and then you put it into your own language. So for me, the way that I broke this down in this situation was, I want to be able to take away more from less. So 17 triggers, it seemed like was maybe a little bit too much. 8 seemed like a little bit more doable. So I kind of like paired the 2 together. So my 8, I call them the 8 flux capacitors, if you remember back to Doc Brown in Back to the Future with Michael J. Fox. And that flux capacitor actually is talking about kind of like flow, but it's a whole different story. Anyways, so they're kind of causational elements of flow and the qualities and triggers. So 1, clear goals, chief aim, ambition, absolute concentration, intense focus. 2, sense of control, level of familiarity, certainty. 3, high consequences or element of risk, awareness of significance. 4, challenge or skill ratio, growth ability. 5, immediate feedback response loop, and the yes instinctive moves. 6, rich environment, variable surroundings, flux variety. 7, deep embodiment, groundedness, rootedness, silent listening, contribution. 8, creative actions, spark and fan the flame of flow. So those are the 8 things that I look at. Now, something that's interesting to pay attention to is, if you can interconnect and create integrity within what you learn into your system, it's extremely helpful. So a number of the other things that I know that I make connections with often are like the 6 basic human needs. So you see in there, I made connections with connection, with certainty, with significance, with variety, with contribution, and with growth. And so I connected them with all 6. And then also the 8 primary senses of the body, you can also connect back to that. And so when you connect the senses of the body with the things that you're learning, and then imagery and experiences, then you create something that is more rooted for you and more easier to draw upon. Hope that was helpful, and have a great